Elite ladies, and welcome to the CFM Elite Lifestyle Business Women podcast. Such a long title, but also worth it. So thank you for joining me today, and I'm checking in from the UK. It is lovely and semi-cloudy, and as per usual, we're used to this weather. So today I wanted to connect with you on how you can monetize on your expertise online. So learning how to turn your expertise into something more tangible online. And often this question comes up by some people that I've connected with. It's like women as well. It's like, how can I actually turn what I do, or what do I utilize in order to be able to start an online business? So this thought just came across as my other thoughts, but this one was just like a few minutes ago, and I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to connect with you today. So if you're joining me for the first time, welcome. And for the returning listeners, you're always welcome. So as you're listening to this podcast, if anything resonates with you and you find something of value, do feel free. Actually, do share, because sharing is caring, sharing is loving. We never know who else we might touch in terms of enabling them to also be informed, also enabling them to also be like, oh, they have a light bulb moment and they can contribute somehow. So we never know. So on that note, how can you turn your expertise into something more tangible online where you can start to earn an income? So some of you may have already heard my story about how I used to work in the public sector and how I progressed from like a frontline worker, providing or assisting people who were receiving supported housing support. And I chose that instead of going into, and I actually didn't even know that I was going to end up getting that type of job role. But it was because at the time, I had graduated from university. I was a bit confused about what I wanted to do. So this might sound familiar to you. I graduated with business and economics, but I also knew that I wasn't motivated by working in the financial sector or working like in an environment where I didn't really feel connected to something that was related to a good cause. I was motivated as well through the result of going through my own personal experience of mental health condition. And I mentioned before that I was diagnosed with bipolar, anxiety disorder, and panic disorder. This just all happened to all come tumbling down. But I think certain things happen in life for a reason, and it's to make us have like a stopgap to then think about what is it that we ultimately want to do in life. So for me, that's what happened, is that through the result of going through my own personal experience, I decided that I wanted to connect more to good causes and to help anybody who had encountered or experienced a mental health condition. And then that's how I ended up in supporting people in supported housing, as at the time also they weren't employing anybody on a professional level who didn't have like at least a year's experience. And this is where most graduates actually struggle, is in finding the right employment after they've graduated. If you haven't had like an apprenticeship or some form of like professional experience, like 1 year's experience or 2 years, and you're like, how can I get in? So I started doing that, and then I progressed on, long story short, into leadership positions, into management, and then into overseeing other team leaders and managers. Then I progressed on to the local authority, which is like a council government related, like administrative, that's what they call it. So if you're working for government, you're administrators for the government. So I was working in contracts and purchasing. So that's at least 8 years of bankable skills. So looking at your own skills, it's looking at, let's say, for example, if you're a college graduate or college or university graduate, someone who has practical skills, developed them over time, and has now become a specialist professional, What do you consider are your key strengths? So these are some of the tips. I'm just going to give you insight. As a result of what I've learned, that's what I use now in terms of like, you never actually, when you graduate, you have skills, but you don't really see it until you start to practice. You practice. So for example, writing skills, presentation skills, and also being able to articulate yourself to be able to debate. So those are some of the skills that come up from that. And I didn't see them immediately when I was studying. It was only after I left, because I used to think, oh, how am I using these skills actually? And when I started working, that's when I thought, oh, this is why I'm able to do certain things more efficiently. It's as a result of having studied for 4 years. And then also going into the career, then I started to pick out, and I didn't know it immediately, but there were certain things that I could help people with easily more than others could do as well. So moving on to you, what are your key strengths? What are you good at supporting people in? Or what do you use, or what do people usually come to you for support in terms of like in your current career? What do you find that it's so easy for you to do but others struggle in doing? And then is it something you enjoy as well doing? And focusing like on your key strengths, is that something that you could also see yourself doing on a daily basis, but doing it in an environment that was more freeing, where you were able to become like more creative and build on that skill that you have? Then taking it another step further, now imagine that you have all the free time in the world to be able to utilize the skill that you have and help people. Who do you see yourself helping? How do you want to help them? Okay, so the point is that you do not need to be like limited only to your job. Especially like for me, I remember feeling like, yes, I enjoy my job, but there's certain things I feel restricted or limited in that were not enabling me to maximize my creativity, because I had to go through so much red tape before anything got authorized, and then the idea became so diluted, or there wasn't enough funding, so there's always like limitations sometimes, there's sometimes limitations, and those can be restricted on work environment. So if you're feeling like this and you feel like I have something greater to contribute on, it's tuning to that more and more, and spending a little bit more time writing on what you believe are your key strengths, because that's what makes it easier for you then to become a specialist in, and then to do it without the limitations of having to ask for permission as well. So it's about tapping into something that lets you be creative, a visionary as well, and a leader within your own specialist area. And this is then what will ultimately enable you to add additional income over time. And you could then move a step further to where then you have the opportunity to start working part-time as you continue to fine-tune your specialist skills, your specialist area as well. And then what you're great at then becomes your vision statement and your purpose for your online business. I used to make this so complex, but this is just basically tapping into your life vision, what you visualize your life to be like. And you're just using your pre-existing skills and expertise to then earn an income. And then as you continue, you will begin to tap in more and more to your life vision, the things that excite you more. So for example, so when you start testing things out, you could create a blog site, share your skills and help others. You could have like a social media site where you build a business page and then take it from there and see how that arises, what you create, how that connects to people, how you're helping them. And then if there's another need, you develop something else, and then this builds on into something even more and greater as well. Then you can move on into monetizing, earning an income from it. moving on into charging for your expertise and services as well. Some people, before they reach that stage, they also offer free services like a free consultation. Then that builds up their portfolio of experience as well. And then they move on into freelancing and contracting, and that's something that I've done as well. So that was just to give you a bit of insight about how you can maximize on the opportunity to live a lifestyle that you want to live, and not really being limited to like 9 to 5, especially if that's not your 100% motivation and you feel like you want to be out there and contributing to greater causes. Not everybody feels the same. There's some people who like and enjoy being in a 9 to 5, but this is specifically for you if you're looking for an exit out. So it's about being creative and in developing your own exit strategy that is progressive over time and that doesn't leave you feeling overwhelmed. So on that note, thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have found this podcast informative. And as per usual, I'll love you and leave you. And also do remember, sharing is loving, sharing is caring. Do share out to people you feel would value this information. And also to keep up to date with the podcast, you can also press the follow button as well. So bye for me for now. Until next time.